everyone. It's Jacqueline, and I am here with Kathy. We have a very special announcement for y'all today. But before we jump into that, Kathy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for people that don't know who you are?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not in front of the camera as much as I used to. They know your beautiful face, but now I'm more of the backup dancer. So I am Kathy Ruiz Carter. I'm the executive director and co-host, co-founder of the Lichen Sclerosus Support Network. And I'm so excited to be here with Jacqueline because we got a crazy announcement. Do not stop listening.
And I'm Jacqueline. I'm the Chief Research and Provider Relations Officer at Lichen Sclerosis Support Network. I also do some of our content. So you might know me from some of our YouTube videos, or you might have read a blog of mine. And I am also on LSSN's board. All right. Now, most of you that are watching this probably know what LS is by now. So it's a chronic inflammatory skin condition that can affect the genital area, so the vulva, the perianal skin. It can also affect the extragenital skin, the penis, but we're mostly focusing on vulvar lichen sclerosis today. And so we know that it causes symptoms like itch and burning. But one of the big things that people experience is changes to their sexual health. And we actually developed a survey to better understand the sexual health implications and impact on folks in our community to see what are the pain points. Are people really struggling with this? And if so, what are the main areas that people are feeling difficulty with? And I will say that one of the first questions was, has your sexual health been impacted by lichen sclerosis? And 94.3% of people said yes. That is almost our entire community saying that their sexual health has been impacted in some way, shape, or form. I think that is a pretty significant number that really speaks volumes to the challenges that many of us face who live with this condition. Now, some of the top things that you were saying were pain points and challenges for you were pain with insertion, obviously a big one there that got a lot of votes. We also got decreased sensation or difficulty with orgasm. We got fear and anxiety around sex and avoidance of sexual activity or avoidance of basically any kind of form of intimacy. So even wanting to shy away from a cuddle or a kiss in fear that that may lead to expectations about something more. These were the things that we were really seeing come up over and over again. The other thing that we looked at were words that people use to express how they feel about either their body or their identity or their sexual identity as somebody living with LS. And some of the big words that came up, actually, the most common word at 84.3% was frustrated. Folks in our community feel frustrated. And then the other terms that got a lot of votes were not confident, broken, and embarrassed. Honestly, I can still relate because I was one of those people where sexual health was my biggest struggle with lichen sclerosis. All of my symptoms were in that sexual health bucket. So I had pain, but the pain was always relating to sexual activity. And I can definitely relate. I remember looking at the results of our survey and just thinking, yeah, I totally get it. I was absolutely that person that was frustrated, felt broken, that felt ashamed, that felt undesirable, not confident, all of these things. I could relate to that. And then towards the end of the survey, we wanted to put a more positive spin on this and say, hey, what can we do to support you in this? And a lot of folks were saying we need more resources to support our sexual health, things like workshops and being able to interact with professionals. And so we were like, okay, heard. So we wanted to make a workshop just for folks just like you who are feeling frustrated, who are not confident in their bodies, who might be going through fear and anxiety and avoidance. And we wanted to create something for you that would make you feel empowered, that would make you feel strong and confident. And so we created
To get your sexy back. We're bringing it back in 2025. So, those of you who have been with us for a while may remember that we first launched this program in 2023 and it was a big success. Literally, we sold 75% of the seats on the first day. This is how needed this workshop is. We worked with a sex educator who works with chronic pain, who is a chronic pain patient herself. So she has that lens of knowing exactly what it is to live with a chronic condition. She has pelvic pain. She doesn't have lichen sclerosis, but she knows what it is to live with a condition that affects her sex life, that she has to make adjustments because of her condition. And so when I met her, it was like the synergy of, oh my God, you are the person that I needed in my life to make this workshop that I had in my head come to life. And so we worked on this for months. And it's specifically made for people with vulvar lichen sclerosis. And for months, we did interviews, we did surveys, we went back and forth with outlines, and we came up with this workshop and we ran it in 2023. It was a success, and we are bringing it back revamped in 2025. We did an even more thorough survey. In 2023, we were just beginning, so our community wasn't as big as it is now. We're like 3 times as big as we were then. And so close to 200 people telling us how LS is affecting their sex life and what they want out of it. And it was like, we got to bring this back. It's so needed. So we have gone in, we've revamped it, and we're so excited to bring this to you today because we are opening the doors to this program. And like I said, 75% of the seats went on the first day the last time. It's an exclusively small group. And we did that on purpose because we want it to be intimate. We want it to be private. And we want you to have connections and trust with the people in your group. This is the thing about this workshop. You have to work the workshop. If you want to just sit and listen, this is not for you, right? You have to be able to engage. You have to be willing to do the practices. And so it was really important for us to keep it small. But it was in such high demand that we added more seats this time. So it's open to 20 people with vulvar lichen sclerosis. Originally, it was 20 weeks. We brought it down to 10 weeks, and we have a little break in the middle. It can be intensive, right? Talking about sex and LS, and this is going to be a transformation, and transformations take time. And so we don't wanna rush the process, but we also don't wanna drag it out. We wanna keep you excited. We wanna keep you coming back, "Okay, I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready to talk about how this week went." And so really, really excited about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that some folks may feel apprehensive about joining because it involves basically sharing really intimate and vulnerable parts of your life with, at least in the beginning, a group of strangers. And that can feel very, very scary and very intimidating for many people. I know that if this was offered to me back when I first started, I would have joined up, but I would have joined up with a lot of nerves and I don't know if I can do this. But again, we're talking about things that are very sensitive and very personal. And so we definitely took that into consideration when building out this workshop. So part of that is keeping the group small. But we also have a one on one meet the teacher thing with Shauna, who is our somatic sex educator, who's basically going to be teaching the curriculum and walking you through the workshop, but you will have an introductory meeting with her. And then there will be a welcome party. So we're not even going to be talking about sex or anything. No lichen sclerosis, no nothing. We are just going to get to know each other as human beings. What do you like doing? What are your hobbies? Play fun games. What we're just going to get to know each other. No stress, low stakes. And that'll help build that initial comfort and safety. Then, as we go through the weeks, we are also going to have little breakout groups. So instead of spotlighting you and having you share something in front of 20 people, you'll be talking amongst your peers, maybe amongst one or two other people in the group. Making it a little bit more intimate with those breakout groups can not only foster a stronger sense of community, but it also lifts a little of the pressure of, oh my gosh, I'm telling everybody this right now. And that was part of the feedback that we actually incorporated from the first go in 2023. And that's where we found out that, all right, breakout groups are the way to go. So we've done a lot to really foster a safe, inclusive space for people to explore this part of their journey, which is really a beautiful and empowering part of your journey, but absolutely a vulnerable part of your journey. So your safety was very much taken into consideration when building this out.
Absolutely. And on the subject of safety and privacy, this is hosted within a closed community that's not on social media. So it's not a Facebook group. Meta is not going to be mining all of our business. It is off social media in our own private Mighty network. And you're going to have access to this community from the start of the program all the way to the end of the year. So even after the program. And in this community, it's going to allow us to house a resource center, replay. So if you can't attend a session live, you can catch up later, send out different practices, even extra things throughout the different weeks. And all of your session links and everything housed in one area. So you're not like, oh, where's that email? Oh, where's that? Nope. Just go into the community and everything is there. And this is the other beautiful thing, it's gonna give you 24/7 access to me and the other members. You'll be able to send us messages at any point. You'll be able to create a post, ask a question, share resources. It's about the connections. If you know anything about LSSN, we are all about connections. So, just like Jacqueline was saying, we wanted to make it so that you trust that you are safe, you are secure, you are sharing with people who get it, who are in very much the same boat, the same journey, whether they're on the same path, we're all on the same journey. So we can support each other as we're going through this process. And other thing is, we're not just learning from Shauna, we're also learning from each other, right? So what works for me may work for you. And this may be something that Shauna hadn't thought of, but as a person who lives with lichen sclerosus, I can bring in that individual perspective, and so can all of your other members. So, super excited about that.
Yes, absolutely. And I just wanted to note that we have Shauna, who's a somatic sex educator with chronic conditions, who's very experienced in working with folks with sexual health and chronic conditions, which is fantastic. So she brings a lot of expertise, but that's not the only expertise involved in this program. We also are going to have a session with a healthcare provider that is going to talk to us about managing pain with sex.
So, just to be clear, this program is not made for people who are at the beginning of their journey, who are still having a lot of pain with sex or are unable to have sex. This is made for people who are further along in their journey, well managed, like in sclerosis, who are able to have mostly pain free sex or pain free sex, but there's just that mental block. There's that low libido. There's those things that Jacqueline was talking about, that fear, that embarrassment, that hesitation. And you just can't figure out, how do I get over this hurdle by myself? I haven't been able to do it. We're here to give you those tools because, like Shauna likes to say, sex is a learnable skill. When we learn all these things in elementary school, if we don't continue using them, we forget them. And so we just need a little refresher course to bring those ideas and that knowledge back to us. And so that's what we're doing.
So we've got a lot of expertise built into this course. You can see here all the amazing topics that we'll be diving into over the course of those 10 weeks.
Each week builds on the last. Shauna and I really looked at this and we made a path. It's a transformation. So you're going to start off with self-image piece, getting okay with intimacy, getting okay with sex, getting okay with your body, right? And pleasure, working into now I'm going to find out what are my boundaries? What are I okay with? What is my yeses and nos? And then how can I confidently ask for those? Because that's the other part of this is there's a lot of hesitation, but it's really about creating that confidence in you to ask for what you want after you figured out what it is you want, and then rekindling the desire to ask for what you want, right? All of those things just build on each other. And then in the second half of the program, when we come back in October, is when we start actually talking about and practicing some of these sexual things. And then we don't even bring in a partner until the very end. All of this is about you. It's very much you focused. It's not sex or sex with a partner focused. It's we're going to get you work on yourself so that then you can radiate. You be who you are. I like to say it's like the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. So there is your path to sexual rebirth.
I'm sure at this point you're like, all right, just tell me when is it? Where is it? What do I got to do? Tell me the details.
Yes. So that's going to happen between July 31st and October 31st. Now, our welcome session is going to be the week before, which I believe is July 24th. It's not mandatory, but we do encourage everybody to be there so that you do get in touch with the other people and start building those connections. We are starting the first live lesson, week 1, is on July 31st. And then we're going to be meeting throughout August every Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 to 9 Eastern through August. And then the first week of September, we're going to have our sexual medicine provider come in and do a whole session on pain management. Like we said, it is 20 max. And right now we are running early bird pricing. This program, if you broke everything down, what's included, it's going to be more than $6,000. But we are bringing it to you for the mere price of $1,200. You literally have access to this for about half the year. You have access to all the replays. You have access to the private community. You have access to the additional resources. You have access to experts in their fields. And you have access to just the space for you to work on yourself to be able to have that transformation in a place where we bring you hope. We're bringing that environment. Environment is so important when it comes to transformation. It's $1,200 for the whole program. You do have an option to either pay one time or you can do 4 equal payments of $300 for 4 months. And these are tax deductible donations. So if you're in the US or you pay US taxes, you do get the tax deduction for that as well. I know that's a long time, July 31st to October 31st.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think the big thing that you were emphasizing, Kathy, was the importance of integration. There's a lot in this workshop curriculum. There's a lot for us to think through, work through. And when we move on transformative journeys, it can be really important that we are also taking the time to digest and process and work through what we're actually learning. Sometimes when we just zip through tons of information in courses, we have no time to process and integrate. So that nice big break in September really allows for that integration. The other thing that's nice with this program is that there are replays available because another concern with time isn't so much that it's so long, that's rough on my time zone, or I'm not sure I can be there at every single one. And as a very busy person whose Google Calendar is always overbooked, I hear that concern. Kathy knows this. Anytime she brings any workshop, training by me, whatever, my first question is, are there replays? Because I need that type of time flexibility for my lifestyle. So, of course, in an ideal world, you show up to all the sessions and you engage and participate. But life happens. We get sick. Stuff happens with the kids. We have a big life event that we're going to be attending, a rehearsal dinner, whatever it is. The replays really allow you that time flexibility as well. So I think that's a nice point of this workshop.
Absolutely. And like I said, you have 24/7 access to the community. So even if you didn't get to attend live and you went back and you watched the replays, you could still engage the community through the post, through the comments, and still get that interaction that can help with your transformation. And one of the really important things with this workshop is you're going to have practices. So, Shauna is great at introducing concepts and then introducing what the practices to go along with that concept is and why you want to focus on that concept and how that is part of your transformation. And then being able to take that practice and practice it a little bit with the group or talk about it. But then after the live session is when the real work starts. How are you incorporating this into your life? How are you making those small but significant transformational differences? I'm super excited. I'm ready for more transformations. And this is live now. We did 75% of the seats in on day 1. This goes live today,
Our wait
Monday.
list is already over almost at 60 people. Our
Yeah,
wait list is at that, and we only have 20 seats. So
exactly.
lunch is today. Get on that for sure.
So I showed you a sneak peek of our landing page. You can find that at lssupportnetwork.org. Get sexy. So if you go to our homepage and just slash get sexy, you're going to go there and you're going to find it. And you can sign up right there on the page. You don't have to go anywhere else. And we take all kinds of payments: Google Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal. You
All the
can send a
pays.
check, credit card, all the ways. And like I said, you do have the option of breaking it up into payments, and we're so excited.
Amazing. Me
Mm.
too. And what if folks have questions? So we do have an FAQ, frequently asked questions, at the bottom of the page. So you can always scroll through that. But what if people are still like, I don't know about this or that? Who do they reach out to? What do they do?
Absolutely. So you can just email us at support@lssupportnetwork.org, and we will get your questions answered. There's no silly questions, no questions too small. Shoot me an email. We got you.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy. It's been nice doing another episode with you. Thank you to everybody tuning in. Definitely hope to see some of you in there. And with that, we thank you and we'll catch you in our next video.
Bye.